I was a politician for 7 years, Pierce, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Foreign Minister, your response to that?
With all due respect to the lady, I'm sorry, I forget her name. She has already exposed her ignorance and lack of knowledge about Nigeria, and it's easy for her to sit thousands of miles away and play games with people's lives. These are real
I'm not
lives
the one playing games.
I can give you figures of those that lost their lives
How many Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009?
Since over the last 5 years, I can categorically tell you that 177 have been killed. And it does not mean that the killing.
But you said to me. You said to me earlier. You said to me earlier you did. Yeah, but hang on. Foreign Minister, with respect.
Muslims. They are not necessarily Muslims.
Foreign Minister.
To understand that.
Foreign Minister, with respect, earlier when I asked you that question, you said you didn't know the number because many of the people who've been killed, you didn't know what religion they were. So which is it?
Yes, so I am telling you, number killed when churches were attacked. I told you the number of the church.
Welcome to Uncensored. What is your response to the Foreign Minister of Nigeria, who says there is no genocide, the numbers of those who've been killed, number of churches attacked, has been wildly exaggerated?
Well, first of all, Pierce, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, Pierce, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it probably is a duck. There is a reason that we're seeing these Islamic militants going around and yelling Allahu Akbar. That's not by coincidence. There's a reason that they are attacking Christians on Christmas Eve. Let's not forget that back in 2014, almost 300 Christian schoolgirls were kidnapped by these Islamic militants. 80 of them, their whereabouts are still unknown. Pierce, what's happening in Nigeria is jihad. It's the exact same thing that happened on October 7 by Islamists when they broke into Israel and murdered Jews yelling Allahu Akbar. It's the exact same thing that ISIS terrorists did to the Yazidis in Iraq. It's the exact same thing that happened in Lebanon. Here's the only difference between what's happening today in Nigeria versus what happened 1,400 years ago when the Muslim Arab invaders came to Persia is that back then people did not have cameras, but today they do. It is 100% jihad. We've seen it before. This is how the Islamist playbook always happens.
Well, I don't think that the Foreign Minister was denying that bad things have been happening. He's just denying that it constitutes a genocide and that the numbers of reported
because his
deaths
government
of
is a part of it.
Of murders of Christians.
I think his government is complicit. Right now, you have an Islamist government in Nigeria. One of the things that he didn't mention to you is that typically it's been a constitutional convention in Nigeria that if the prime minister is Muslim, then if the president is Muslim, then the vice president is Christian. If the president is Christian, then the vice president is Muslim. This is intended to have a proper representation of the Nigerian population. Right now, you have a Muslim president, and then they decided to choose a Muslim vice president, and so there is actually no Christian representation in the Islamist government. By the way, this is a government that is working closely behind the scenes with the Islamic Republic of Iran. You should ask the foreign minister why Nigerian school children are holding pictures of the Ayatollah, who is a brutal dictator and is murdering my people in Iran. People need to look into the linkages between the current Nigerian government and the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was a politician for 7 years, Pierce, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Foreign Minister, your response to that?
With all due respect to the lady, I'm sorry, I forget her name. She has already exposed her ignorance and lack of knowledge about Nigeria, and it's easy for her to sit thousands of miles away and play games with people's lives. These are real
I'm not
lives
the one playing games with people's lives. 7,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria. 7,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria. Who's playing games with people's lives?
Does not even know whether Nigeria has a president or a prime minister. You can see how she's waffling, she's stumbling. But this is typical
I think you're showing your own ignorance. The fact that you're not able to actually counter what I'm saying, and instead you're going after these things that are irrelevant, that just shows how ignorant you
saber
are.
rattling, trade in saber rattling. It is typical. You can see she's exposing herself. She doesn't even know the country that she's trying to start a crusade on, and drawing comparisons with Gaza. You know, it's clear what she's trying to do. We have a constitution that has, go and read my constitution before you even try to have a discussion with me. Look up sections 10, 38, and 42 of our constitution. There is federal character enshrined in our constitution. It's part and parcel of it. And the priority is the region where you come from, because we don't identify ourselves as Muslims and Christians in Nigeria. We identify ourselves from regions, geopolitical regions.
The Christians disagree.
Place where we come from, and
but do you accept? All right, Foreign Minister. Foreign Minister, let me jump in. Let me jump in. Foreign Minister. Foreign Minister, do you? Foreign Minister, if I may. Foreign Minister, if I may, Foreign Minister, do you accept that there is a big problem? You know, we can quibble over precise numbers, but you've already said by your own numbers over 100 Christian churches have been attacked. You won't commit to how many Christians have been killed. I think you're slightly hiding behind the fact you don't know what all their religion was. But you must know how many people have been killed.
I can give you figures. I can give you figures. You did not ask. You did not ask me. I can give you figures of those that lost their lives when.
How many Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009?
Since over the last 5 years, I can categorically tell you that 177 have been killed. And it does not mean that the killing.
But you said to me. You said to me earlier. You said to me earlier you did. Yeah, but hang on. Foreign Minister, with respect.
Muslims. They are not necessarily Muslims.
Foreign Minister.
To understand that.
Foreign Minister, with respect, earlier when I asked you that question, you said you didn't know the number because many of the people who've been killed, you didn't know what religion they were. So which is it?
Yes, so I am telling you, number killed when churches were attacked. I told you the number of the churches that were attacked.
Now, how many Christians? You misunderstood my question. How many? I want to know. I want to know. Yes, but Foreign Minister, you have had United States senators like Ted Cruz saying publicly that at least 50,000 Christians have been murdered since 2009. If you're saying that number is wildly exaggerated, what is the number?
I keep giving you the numbers, but clearly, you know, you are not.
You're not. You're giving me the numbers since in the last 5 years.
Accept the numbers or to even listen to what I'm saying. 102, 177, number injured 98, number abducted 7. Okay, so we are not hiding any facts. But as I said, we don't go about trying to identify a Nigerian's faith when they've lost their lives. That is
but
not,
do you condemn? Do you condemn, Foreign Minister? Foreign Minister, do you condemn the attacks and the murder on Christians by Islamist groups in Nigeria?
Absolutely, 100%. I lost my father-in-law to an attack by an Islamic terrorist group, Boko Haram. So I myself am a victim. I've lost family members to attacks. And they were Muslims. But it doesn't matter whether they're Muslim or Christian, because their aim is to kill, to maim, so that they would achieve their objectives. And the #1 enemy of Boko Haram is not a Christian. It is a Muslim who does not subscribe to their own brand of Islam.